What if I told you hazel isn't even a color at all? Well, most people think hazel eyes are just light brown or a simple mix of green. But biologically, they are the most chaotic, complex, and misunderstood eye color on the planet. Today we are doing more than just looking at eye pictures. We are breaking down the 7 specific types of hazel eyes based on their unique visual appearance. And for each distinct type, we are going to reveal the specific ancestral history hidden in your DNA. Let's start with the high contrast showstopper. Number 1. The Golden Sunburst Hazel Eyes. This is often considered the most common form of the true classic hazel. In this type, the melanin is concentrated heavily at the center, creating a warm amber or golden core, while the outer limbal ring of the iris remains green or gray. As a result, this contrast forms a striking two-tone effect that looks almost unreal up close. And here's the fascinating part. This contrast isn't random. It's a powerful ancestral marker. Geneticists trace the pattern back to Celtic and Germanic ancestries, where the recessive light eye genes fought intensely against the newly introduced pigments. The result is that beautiful amber to green explosion we now recognize as classic hazel. So if your eyes look like an eclipse is happening inside them, you have the Golden Sunburst hazel eyes. Next is 2, the olive mosaic hazel eyes. The olive mosaic is defined by its seamless, uniform distribution of pigment, resulting in a soft, earthy, olive green or rich hazel brown that shifts subtly with the light. Because the pigments are thoroughly scattered, this color often appears slightly muddy or dusted, lacking any sharp boundaries. Now, this perfect, seamless blending tells a story of stability in the DNA. This pattern is historically linked to Mediterranean and North African populations, suggesting ancestors who maintained a moderate, steady level of melanin production. Now we have the most controversial one. Number 3, the russet dominant hazel eyes. People with this eye color usually spend their whole lives ticking brown on their driver's license, but they're wrong. A true brown eye is opaque and absorbs almost all light. The russet hazel, however, is a subtle deception. While it looks dark copper or reddish brown, the deep tissue of the iris remains transparent enough to let light scatter through the edges. That's why these eyes look dark indoors, but explode into golden copper streaks the second you step into direct sunlight. Well, this is the secret hazel that suggests your ancestors migrated along the ancient Silk Road or through Middle Eastern and Latin American gene pools, where the strong brown gene prevails. Then moving to the most visually fascinating, number 4, the rainbow hazel eyes. While most hazel eyes blend 2 colors, this type manages to display 3 distinct colors simultaneously. Well, you don't see blending here. Instead, you see 3 separate colors organized in clear bands. You will find a pale gray-blue outer rim, a green middle ring, and a sharp amber center, often looking like a precise painted target. These exceptional color bands suggest a very specific genetic makeup where the melanin production stopped and resumed at different stages of the iris's development. So if you have this, you have a living geological timeline in your eye. Number 5, the gray hazel hybrid eyes. This one is the coldest variation in the spectrum. While standard hazel leans toward a warm green effect, this type lacks enough yellow pigment to make green. Instead, you have a cool steel gray base with subtle bursts of amber. In fact, the overall impression is pale and sharp, completely avoiding the warm, earthy tones common to other hazel types. Genetically, this low pigment look is associated with Slavic and Eastern European populations that evolved in very cold climates with reduced sunlight exposure. Number 6, the flame hazel eyes. This type is defined by a distinct visual event. Instead of a ring, the brown pigment splashes out in a specific section, like a slice of pizza or a flame shooting outward. As a result, you might see a predominantly olive eye with a clear, bright triangle of pure amber cut across it. The bold streak is rare, striking, and historically regarded by some cultures as a mark of luck. Biologically, flame hazel eyes occur because your cells decided to pigment one specific coordinate of the iris and ignore the rest. And finally, we reach the most famous and most unstable hazel. Type 7, the chameleon, or the variable hazel eyes. You've heard the myth. My eyes change color with my mood. But scientifically, that's false, as pigment doesn't shift with emotion. However, the chameleon hazel eyes are the reason that myth exists. They do physically change appearance. This happens because the eye holds a specific, delicate balance of pigment density and transparency. So when you are angry or excited, your pupil dilates. Iris tissue compresses, and the brown-gold colors suddenly become dominant, overtaking the green. But when you're calm, the pupil shrinks, the pigments spread out, and the blue-green scattering takes over again. The visual instability in chameleon hazel eyes isn't an accident. It means your DNA is holding a perfect genetic tie between the light and dark eye traits. So there you have it, the 7 different types of hazel eyes explored and decoded. Whether you have the Golden Sunburst, the stealthy Russet, or the rare Chameleon, remember this: hazel isn't a single color. It is a spectrum of genetic accidents that result in the most versatile eyes in the human race. Now grab a mirror, take a closer look at your own eyes, and tell us, which hazel type do you have? Comment below, and let's see which one is actually the most common among our viewers.